I've always felt different. I've always seen things, but when I tried to express them as a child, I was always told to ignore it.
There were people that I didn't know that came to me and said, I have this message that I keep getting that I have to deliver to you.
All of a sudden, out of the shadows, a homeless man just jumped right in front of me. And he said, I'm a soul just like you.
I love it.
I wanted to understand the universe and who and what we are and what are we doing here.
We're all part of this amazing soul wave tapping into each other.
This was a major life changer.
You are a light. You have helped me a ton. Thank you.
You've given me the courage to live more from my soul.
Millions of people are awakening. So wake up with Michele, the place to hear the best-selling authors and experts in the fields of cutting-edge self-help, personal growth, metaphysics, and spirituality. The soul path of awakening. Understand what living awake is.
Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome. It's Michele here with Awakenings with Michele. Good to connect with all of you here. Wednesday is one of my favorite days where I get to connect with you. We're here every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Pacific time. And if we're not, we'll usually let you know. Sometimes not on holidays. Just depends how the flow goes. Anyway, this is the place for inside information on metaphysics, what's happening in the world, astrology, numerology, connecting into the soul, spirit, mostly soul awakening, but also a bit of the spiritual awakening, and diving into shamanic path work, as well as what supports you on the soul path, looking at soul path tools for you to understand your path better and navigate that soul path of awakening. So get comfy, connect in. I just got my lovely, kind of a cappuccino. Those of you that follow me on Instagram, you know I love my new Drio, D-R-E-A-O, frother, electric frother. It is amazing. It froths so wonderfully. Almond milk, oat milk, all of that. Coconut milk. So I'm doing that right now, a little latte. So get your favorite bev and come in. I see Owen getting in the chat as well. So you can call in for questions. If you have anything you want to share, I would love to hear from you. That's one of the ways you activate part of your awakening, is by using your voice, speaking your truth, your insights, your opinion, your understanding, and also using your voice to create more and more from the soul, what we call soul expression, which is true or genuine self-expression. So we have a guest coming on at the second half of the program, probably around 12:30. I hope I'm saying the name right. Dana Micucci, I think. Yeah. Author of The Years of Living Dangerously, Lessons from the Front Lines of a 21st Century Lightworker. Sounds like right up our alley, right? So we'll be connecting in with her, getting her take. I do consider all of us been on the front line. I know I have for many years, and there is a difference as to how you expand in your life, depending on where you are in your path of awakening or what you've come here to do. And I want to touch base. I've got some email questions that have come in, and you can always email me at awakeningspodcast@gmail.com, or DM me on Instagram, or Soul Insights and Tarot, or Awakenings with Michele on YouTube. Soul Insights and Tarot and Awakenings with Michele on YouTube. I really look through the comments, more so the DM. That I'm not going to say I don't look at DMs. I do look at some, every now and then, but sometimes there's just so many to get through. But you can also email, or info at soulplayground.life also will, with your questions or comments or topic suggestions, anything that you're wanting me to cover. So I feel like a lot is going on. How about you? I'd love to know in the chat how you all are doing, and what you're noticing in your life at this time. Okay, so one of the questions we got was a lot of people, hey Sunray, a lot of people noticing that people, let's see, I've been noticing that when I talk to people I know are hanging out with them, they're coughing and are choking a lot. I also see strangers spitting. Are these signs that the throat chakra is congested? It can be. And those of you that connected with me with 3i Atlas know from the channeling that I had from that interstellar beingness, that vibrational frequency and higher octave of love, that the activation, the notes that they gave me, the key of G, note of C, is the upper chakras, starting from the throat though. So they're the transpersonal chakras. I thought they were reversed, but we had musicians came on and they said actually because it's in the key of G, not the key of C and note of G. It's actually in that key, which it can encompass the root chakra and the what do you call it, and the throat, but it's actually more. And when you channel that energy, when they connect with you and communicate, you can feel the expansion to the heart chakra, but you can feel your energy and body rising, the auric field and subtle energy of you extending and rising. And so it's that pause point that I teach people how to connect into channel. It's that portal above the crown chakra that's actually the C note. So the G is going to start at the throat. So there is a lot of clearing with the throat. And the throat chakra also has to do with listening to your higher self. So it's not just about listening and speaking your truth and do you hear yourself. It's also, are you listening to the higher self? And then as your third chakra gets more cleared, which has a lot, third and second, but third is feeling safer on the earth, to express as you, as a soul coming through your avatar you, or the identity of you. That's why when people say things that you don't like or mean, you feel a ping, you feel it in your stomach. You feel like a dig, right? I call it a harpoon. Sometimes people harpoon you. So once that's cleared enough, then the upper chakra, which is the fifth of higher vibrational communications, your words vibrating more, not just the messaging through the word or language, but the energy that starts getting activated. And also it does a lot about listening to your higher self. So speaking, I just had a text come in. Hello, just landed. So meditation portal. Yeah. So you guys, some of you asked about the music. I posted it on, well, I didn't post it. We had two people in the Patreon community and the soul study program that I have on Patreon went and did a lot of research to songs that are in the key of G, note of C. And they first of all, they posted a list. I believe Jody, who's sometimes in the chat, she posted a whole list. And then someone else, and was it Amber? I'm not sure now who it was. Let me know if you're in the chat. Actually went and researched online and picked songs, which Imagine was one of them. Is that John Lennon? Beatles, John Lennon, Imagine was one of them. I can't remember the others. There were some also classical pieces, I think, by Bach and Mozart. But they posted, they did a whole playlist, which was so nice, on YouTube so that you could go listen to the songs. Now, this is exactly what 3i Atlas asked, because I said, why are you giving me this? I'm not a musician. I used to be a dancer back in the day, but I can dance just about anything, but no, not play an instrument at all. So what happened, hey, Angie, welcome. Sefer, welcome, Array, all of you. So guess what? Nelson and Grace, who have been on the show, Grace, I'm actually doing a shamanic ceremony and ritual. I'm doing inner plane journey work. If you're in the LA area, I'm going to be in the LA area for a bit before I take off again at Anima Mundi this Saturday. What is that? December 13th, I think. And I'm going to be doing wakeful dreaming, a very powerful inner plane process, and doing some transmissions with Grace. Anyway, she and her husband, partner, Nelson, who's been on. So some of you have done online workshops, transmissions, and journey work with Grace and I, through Zoom or whatever. Some of you have done, I think we did one in person years ago. It's been quite a while, I think like 2017 or something, 2019, 18, something like that. So they both did a meditation piece of music and transmission to the key of G, note of C, and it is powerful. I was visiting them over the Thanksgiving holiday, and he had put it on, and I was feeling my crown chakra was tingling, and I was like, who is that? What is that music? Where's that coming from? He goes, oh, I did that inspired by your channeling with 3i Atlas. And I went, oh my God, it's exactly how I felt, because you felt this energy and emotions, feeling this kind of uplifting energy. So I don't know if they're going to come on the podcast and talk about it. We've got a track. Okay, you can get the track to support. Let me put it in by going to okay, I'm going to put it in the chat. Yeah, I think it's only $1.50, so they kept it. I'm like, you need to get an exchange for your work. Okay, let me put that in. Now, yeah, so if you want to listen, some of you asked, Michele, can you do music that connects you into 3i Atlas? And I was like, no, I can't, but somebody's meant to. And 3i Atlas said that. 3i Atlas said that starting next year, you're going to hear much more music. People are going to compose music. And I didn't ask anyone to do it. I just gave them, the message. So it's on Bandcamp. If you go to Bandcamp, I put the link in the chat. You can get that sound. And I would get it because 3i Atlas is going to be closest to Earth December 19th. So we've got a right now, really, between like the 11th of this month in through the 21st, 22nd, a very powerful portal that just started kind of opening October, November. And also this month we're in a 57-12-3. So there's a lot of reevaluating, reframing. We're in an expansion energy. Now, some things are still kind of contracting from the year's energy of that 45-9 cycle of completion and endings and moving on. But it's really been a refinement, even if there's been loss, which I don't know, folks, let me know in the chat. I've had some loss and just kind of unexpected that, let's see. Okay, well, they will do a live on this too, but right now you can get the 3i Atlas. It's called Meditation Portal, in parentheses, 3i Atlas by Nelson Marquez featuring Grace O. It's at kalifadove.bandcamp.com, KALIFADOVE.bandcamp.com. I am still rocking with that energy. My frequency shifted. I mean, I can't even explain it. People have noticed it. I've talked about it in some of my YouTube videos, in my classes and workshops and Patreon. But the transmission that I received, that it's helped a lot of people, or so they say in the comments and the DMs that I've received and emails, through the energy clearing that I had, all that emotion and grief and love and just connected energy. So we're in a really pivotal time. And like I said, next year, the soul call is really getting stronger. And, I've talked to, because I'm even changing a bit how I work. Good to see you too, Angie. A bit where I'm really focusing back, which was one of my gifts, very good at, but I love. It's so fulfilling when I'm working with people that really have a soul. They want to externalize their soul into this earth plane, and they want to take their soul purpose and do something fulfilling, not just for themselves and their own healing, but to really help. And what we're starting to see is more of this soul mission, where a lot of the star seeds that are light workers, which by the way, not all light workers are star seeds, but all star seeds are light workers and teachers of some sort. You don't have to do it by doing a workshop or a class or doing reading. There's many ways to do it, because it's all about the frequency and what you're transmitting and what you've come here to share. So you might do it in different mediums. Some people do it through art or music, like Grace and Nelson, although Grace does cranial sacral and she works with, sound bowls, and she does Reiki, but you can do it through music. And that's one of the things. Music and movement is going to be key, especially as we're getting into Uranus, moves back into Gemini in April, end of April. That higher mind, how do I access divine mind, higher mind? How do I get even not just into the soul, not just into the spirit realm, but into the undifferentiated, undiluted energy that's beyond the soul, where the soul comes from? How do I tap into that and then let it filter back into through my soul, higher self, navigating principle, into the avatar human me, ego me? How do I become that channel and that conduit? And it's all about the frequency. And that's one of the reasons I'm very passionate about helping people do that. Some of you know my part of my story of channeling a lot of things, whether it's on the stock market or 9/11 or the Berlin Wall coming down, all these things that I picked up months to years ahead, to channeling in 2017, all about the pandemic, what was going to happen, where it happened, everything that came about, from the censorship, from not being able to fly, from, this pandemic came from our government. I mean, 2017, the guides and the oversouls told me this. I had no clue. So, but all the time that I asked my guides, should I be putting this out there? And I do put it out there. I put it out there a few times on YouTube. The videos were taken down, but they all, then I put it on Patreon. But I've told people that I work with so they can prepare. They could start working differently. They could make the changes with knowing that this was coming up. And so one of the things the guides have always told me when I asked them, I'm like, well, should I be telling all these predictions? And they said, no, teach people how to connect into their own intuition, understand and follow their own inner knowing. And they started telling me that around 2009. And I was getting a lot of message between then and 2011, and then that 2017, 2018 time period. And I can see why now, because it's cool that I channel things and I'm an accurate channel, or some people call me like sleeping prophet or whatever in visions that I have. But that's interesting. That's a little help. That's 20%. But what really helps was when everybody is tapping into their own inner knowing, because that's what you're going to need, not only because of AI and things, there's ways to distort information. And we're going to be going through the next 8 to 10 years with a good chunk of that. So the more you can connect into your own inner knowing, fifth chakra, hear your higher self, weigh information anyone gives you, including me, myself, anyone, and bring it back to you. That's why I didn't really get caught up or have any negative really things happen to me during that whole pandemic. Once I knew it was coming, but I'd listened to my own inner know, my intuition, my higher self, and I did what I would normally do. See, this is the thing. If once you know yourself, you're in integrity. It's not good, you're bad. No, it's not. It's nothing about that. It's not, oh, I'm so good, and I'm a nice person. No, not at all. Believe me, I can have my little, I don't really get into dramas, but if someone pushes me in a corner, I'll, enough, I'll come out, hey, do, karate chop, Queen of Swords energy. But when you, from the deepest level of you, have an inner connection to yourself, you are guided through things. And people talk about this. I've had some traumas in my life where I almost died, almost was killed. And what saved me was a connection to my higher self, this intuition, instinctual awareness. So we have both instinctual awareness, intuition, the sixth sense, and then psychic ability, or the ability to channel. So it's going to be more and more crucial, critical, pivotal that you understand your intuition and use it more, your body wisdom, your sensory perception. Does something feel off, and not go with the herd, because the herd can be manipulated. You got to realize, where are you getting your hive mind information? So that's why on my website for free, soulplayground.org, you can download that alignment meditation. So you learn, what does the frequency of my higher self feel like? Believe me, I know when I'm connecting to my higher self. I'll even sometimes say it in session. Like yesterday, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. This is the therapist me coming in. I have to clear and get into the higher self, and then beyond the higher self, extend into that 9th chakra and then beyond, to get the clear information as much as possible. Or I'll know if it's psychic information, or I'll know if it's ego preference, or is it my training? These are all subtle aspects of us, just vibrationally, but they're orientations. So I can't stress enough how important it's going to be not to fool yourself by thinking, oh, my higher self, I woke up, I had a dream, I'm supposed to sell everything and travel around the world, and you blow up your life. I saw a lot of people do that between 2020 and 2023, and they had a lot of challenges, and I'm like, it's possible for your ego to masquerade at your higher self, because your higher self will always have you do something that there's some step or some level, even if it's a tiny step. It's not going to it's going to have you do something that's the most efficient, efficacious, the most in alignment, the most life enhancing, the most optimizing. You'll always have a landing pad. You'll have some sense of security. It might be tiny. You might be stepping, instead of on a huge, nice paver stepping stone, you might be stepping on a lily pad, but there will be there will be a step there. Sunray is saying in the chat, pro tip, the above link is not clickable. If you take a screenshot, the iPhone turns the image into a link. Unsure about oh, snap. Let me try, gang. Let me try. But then how do I upload? Am I able to upload that on Podbean? Well, we'll just try it. Thank you, Sunray. Sunray's got a lot of insight on all levels. Does tarot, by the way, gang. Okay, so let's see if this works. Am I able to? I knew that it isn't a clickable link, by the way. I did know that, but I thought people can. Let's see if I can upload it. Oh, snap! I didn't know that. Select more. No, it just goes to my page. Podbean may use your photo as your profile or podcast. Okay, here we go. Sunray, are you there, Sunray? Now I can't get out of this. Keep current selection. Let me get out of here. Okay, are you online? Sunray, call in. Let's see. Image. How do I put an image? Okay, here we go. Hi.
I was just gonna say it's weird. You can't copy and paste the link that you shared.
No, I know that, but people could just get the go to CaliDove.bandcamp to find it.
That makes sense. I guess for people who are like, I don't have time to enter all that stuff.
Yeah, I'll probably put it on Instagram, but I can't put a link here.
I
Right?
know, it's super weird. So that's, I think, a workaround for that, because I was trying to click it.
But no, but how would I put the picture? I can't put a picture in the chat.
No, you can't. But anyone who is in Podbean right now that would like to access that link that you shared, how you can do that is by taking a screenshot, and then iPhone recognizes that there's a link in the image. Mm-hmm. And then you're able to just click the link. So then you don't have to type that or access.
No, but how am I going to get the image into the chat? That's the thing.
I don't know. Podbean does not allow images to share.
No, that's why I can't. Yeah. We're going to probably do, we'll may do a live with them on hopefully around the 19th. And
with Podbean?
Well, through Podbean, but I also want to do something on YouTube where I will be able to have them on, video, so you can see.
Oh,
And we're
oh
gonna,
yeah,
yeah, and
yeah.
we're gonna do a meditation and have them play. I'm telling you,
Oh my gosh.
son, my God, Sunray, you cannot even believe. I'm telling you, I was sitting there getting high off the music. I didn't even know. I could hear in the background because I was in the kitchen and my crown chakra was tingling and I was feeling like a little kind of giddy good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this music? And he put it on and he was smiling. He was in the other room and had the mixing board. He's got
Oh
a whole
my
studio. And he
God.
goes, oh, I wrote that. It's the key of G. And I go, yeah, I can tell. I go, I'm
Oh
getting
my
high off of
God.
this. My whole crown chakra was tingling. It was, so yeah, I want them definitely, I said, you have got, he's, oh, it needs more work, typical musician and producer, right? And,
Critical of their own work.
yeah, well, and there has a little more mix. I go, no, it's perfect. My crown chakra is tingling. It is perfect as it is. I go, you got to get it out there so more people can listen and connect into this frequency. It's like, especially for next year. Next year, we're in a 4610, which distills to a one cycle, the magician, but
Yes. Wow. That's the
but
beginnings. I can feel it now because it's not black or white. It's not like
no,
you count down 3, 2, 1, Happy New Year, and then all of a sudden that's happening. I feel like our gifts are all being activated like
yeah,
now.
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I'm telling people, I've had a couple people go, they're kind of him and him stalling around, and I'm like, look, you got to move forward. You got to,
Yeah, don't stall
and
around.
yeah, and I'm like, and they're like, well, what's going to happen, Michele? And I go, look, okay, so I've channeled. It's not so much
Have faith.
huh?
Have faith.
No,
Trust.
well,
And
that
faith.
too, but no, it's not so much the external stuff that's going to be happening. It's more internal, and I describe it this way. When you're in, whether it's high school, college, university, whatever, when you're supposed to, you have that test and that Wednesday or Thursday, and you went out, you didn't study,
Oh yeah.
all of a sudden it hits you,
Oh
eight,
yeah.
9 o'clock,
Yeah.
you come home from your friends wherever, and you're like, oh shit,
Oh.
I better, well, oh God, oh, I gotta
Oh.
study. It's gonna be that. It's gonna be internal pressure, or like when you really realize you gotta do whatever, or you want to get that wedding, and you're like, oh, I want to lose a couple pounds for my dress, and then you're like, oh God, the wedding's next month. Crash diet.
That's funny because that's how this whole tarot, thank you for the plug. That's how this is all started with because
Oh.
I had initially reached out because this is how it all kind of started. So I reached out to a person that had an event, and I just, I was like, I didn't think too much about it. I just threw it out there. I wasn't expecting anything.
Mhm.
And she's like, well, good luck. Hopefully you can, maybe contact this person and show up at this event and do tarot. Well, a week later, that's when she'd reached back out to me after the event, and I had forgotten about the event and whatnot. And she was like, hey, we'd like for you to be one of our rotating readers at Ecstatic Dance. And it's funny, like today I wasn't supposed to go, and they had just messaged me yesterday, like, hey, can you show up? Tomorrow we need you. I was like, whoa. It's like, wow. I was like, that is interesting how it's kind of
Yeah,
like this gift that I'm sharing, and people are now like wanting me to do it.
the time is now, but see, you're answering it, so the people that um or have been answering, the urgency is going to be inspiration and inspired action. Like the other day when I had all this, I think you had called in. I did so much stuff that I was balancing, deadlines, projects. Then something happened behind the scenes with Awakenings, and I was on the line with the producer Sadie and all this. And then Three Atlas was like, "Oh, put this out now, this video," and I'm like, "What?" And then they go, just calm down, dear. Don't worry. It'll all get done. Sunray, do you know everything got done? And I was in a peachy mood, smiling in a flow. And it's been
Oh,
like that. It's like I get these things that I wanted to do and launch that I just didn't have the mental bandwidth, the energy for. I'm doing it, and then I'm getting the cooperation, like certain things that were just lagging. I'm like, oh, that's to put that out there now. Oh, that's the direction. Oh, yeah, this is going to be helpful. Oh, this is fun for me. This is my art, and I'm like going, okay. The whole key is to get out of the lower mind. That's that Uranus and Gemini. It's like, don't dilly dally in the beta consciousness. That's the hallway. It's like a great party, grand ballroom, whatever, great dance hall, and you're toe tapping in the hallway. Go in the ballroom where the dancing and the music is. That's what we're kind of getting pushed, because we need all these new forms with the new vibrational frequency, the new emerging consciousness. It's time, the soul call to do those apps, to do those programs, the books, the this, the that, whatever it is you're wanting to do, because it now holds that vibrational frequency and more expanded consciousness. So that's what people need to be doing. It's like stepping into, because it's going to communicate on a vibrational level, a frequency level. We need new books. Our guests coming on, we need new books. Some of the old books, some things are good, but I keep trying to tell people, look, we're updating. When I started doing healing work, they're like, okay, after you do they hit energy work, you step back, draw a circle around with your hand, visualize the light, and right away wash your hands up to the elbow. And I'm like, why? Whoa, you don't want to stay stuck in their energy. You want to cleanse, you want to clear, and it's like, put the white light. Well, then we realize the truth. It's a frequency shift, guys. I don't need to do it. I can do the song and dance. That's kind of fun to do the ritual and the ceremony. I'm shamanically trained. I'm an occultist, an alchemist. Yeah, I like that. But the truth is, you can just shift frequency. Like a dog. A dog picks up on the vibes, it crosses the street, doesn't want the drama. We're the same way. We don't have to, all these things of, it's just going to be more and more, telepathic, the remote view. Okay, I'm just shifting my awareness now. I'm into this. I can feel that.
Well, I feel like that's coming and emerging too as technology starts to continually advance more. Like when I think about how much time we spend online, that's becoming the new like matrix, and what the real world is becoming more powerful. So like when you break free from what your normal is, which is the online world, you kind of like, it's like taking a drug. You're like, oh my God, this is an actual real plant that I can touch and experience.
Yeah.
Versus this interaction that we have with plants or nature through our phones or online. And I feel like as more AI is a thing and virtual reality, that when we disconnect, we can get high just from putting our feet in the ground or listening to music, as you mentioned, because that's like where the real frequency is at, not the replicated frequency.
Exactly. And how about we are the technology?
We are the technology.
Right?
I wonder if the guests will be able to kind of enlighten us around the ancient wisdom within us about our awakening and realizing the technology that is not created, it's not being created in the future because it's already here and it's within us. We just have to become more aware of it, like accessing parts of our spirit, parts of our brain that we haven't put into practice because of the environment and the programming that has been put into us to take us away from the awareness of the technology within us. So curious to hear about what your guest has to say today.
Okay, well, she's on the line, so let's see what she has. Hopefully she heard that. That's a great question. You always have great questions, Sunray. Yeah, anything else before I get our guest on? And you can also pop back on if you want.
Yeah, I'm at work, so I'm just listening in the background.
Okay, very cool, very cool.
Great chatting with
you too. Great. Keep us posted about your tarot. Put it in the Awakenings
oh my God. Yeah.
podcast group on Instagram. So people know how to connect with you. Okay, very cool. All right, gang, we got Dana with us. I hope I'm saying Micucci. The Years of Living Dangerously, Lessons from the Front Lines of a 21st Century Lightworker. I'm going to let her share a little bit about her. I think the title of her recent book gives us a very clear view of where she's coming from. Hello, welcome.
Hi, Michele. Thank you for having me on today.
Yeah, I'm loving it. Okay, give me your last name?
It's Micucci.
Micucci. Okay, good. Okay, Micucci. Okay.
Yes.
All right, Dana. Okay, well, I don't know if you want to start with the question our guest had, and then we'll kind of we'll work around information.
Sure. What? Tell me. Repeat the question again, Michele.
Yeah, let's. Sunray, can you pop back on with that because you're something about ancient wisdom?
Yeah. So my question was, okay. I'm curious to know if there's so the ancient wisdom within us is that technology that we just have not put into practice for so long, or for example, Michele mentioning about telepathy and becoming more telepathic. Well, if we are becoming something that's future, and the future's already happened, which means the technology that we would be using in the future we can use now. So is it that we're shifting into a new awareness of something within us we already have, or I'm just curious to know what your thoughts are on about something that we already know but just need to be to release old programming so that we can exercise that wisdom or exercise that new technology or that technology.
It's a little bit of both, but what say you, Dana? Let's say.
Okay. Yes, I think you phrased it well, Sunray. I mean, so much of this path in ongoing spiritual evolution, some people call it the ascension, moving to higher dimensions of consciousness, is all about remembering, I feel. And yes, tapping into gifts and talents that have been dormant. All of this wisdom is encoded within us, within our DNA. And our job is to remove the layers, the blockages to the awareness of its presence within ourselves.
Yes.
So the more and more, and Michele, I know you do shamanic work, so do I. That it's so great to have a kindred spirit.
Yes,
here.
I knew it. When I read the title, I said, "Oh, the front," because I'm always saying we're on the front lines. So.
Yes, we're on the front lines. Exactly. And I do feel that more and more people are accessing this inner wisdom.
Yeah.
There's so many more aha moments. The synchronicities are accelerating. The the magic in our daily lives, even miracles, which are our natural birthright, the ascended masters would say. And so as time kind of disappears, as we move beyond space-time in our consciousness, and Sunray mentioned that the future is happening now, and so is the past, and the more and more present we are, Michele, the more we have access to all of this wisdom within ourselves. And now, of course, there are things to help us access it. For example, teachers who connect with the ancient wisdom and share it. And there are books and there are events and all kinds of ways to connect today, which is so beautiful.
Yeah. Now, one thing I'd love to dive in, and I do want to hear back, other stuff about you, but you touched upon something that I feel like a lot of, and maybe it's what I call the kind of more newbie metaphysicians don't touch on enough, or spiritual teachers, definitely as a spiritualist, occultist, or shaman, this, but you said something so important. I think people need to really put a little pin in, is a lot of this we have within us. It's encoded. And there is an interesting thing in the earth world realm of playing things out through, right, resonance, dissonance, distortion, up, down, duality. Sometimes it's hidden, but it's in some level, it's not learning anything new. It's that remembering, or like you said, the encoding that we're accessing, because things do get, I call them overlays or templates on top of our soul design, our soul matrix, by what's happened on the earth plane. But that is the earth plane game up until now. I'm messaging I've been getting is that's changing. But could you speak to that a little bit more, that you're not, even when you're learning something, you've got this encoded, as you said.
Yes. And so there may be a moment of recognition or like an instant revelation, an instant insight where you've connected to that inner wisdom. And so true, Michele, about the overlays. I mean, we have so many of them, right? Just from just our basic daily tasks to all of the chatter of the outside world, the political stage. Of course, all the mystics of the ages would say that that is all illusory and that the only true reality is within us. And there is a beautiful quote in A Course in Miracles, which has been one of my greatest teachers, which is, a multi-lifetime task
Yeah.
to
Well, I used to study
embody.
that quite a bit. There's some good kernels in there.
Good kernels. And there
Yeah.
is a saying, nothing real, capital R, can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. So that what's real with the capital R is our connection to Spirit God. And that never changes. And we find that within, and especially when we connect to our heart center, I find, Michele, and the shamanic path is a path of the heart,
Yes.
and it's a path of direct revelation. So I like what you said earlier when I was listening in about frequency. And, it's the tapping into this wisdom can happen in an instant. We're energy beings and we exist in the quantum field. So a lot of the 3D ways of doing things, and you mentioned a few, and let's say even in the past, like protests and whatever, actual 3D ways, which served us well, and they were very important. But we're moving beyond that to simply,
you're speaking. I got in trouble. I was interviewed on a podcast, and someone said, "What should we do?" And I'm like, "The protests aren't doing any good." Have you noticed through history?
Yes.
I go
Right.
consciousness,
Right.
but also frequency. Guys, forget the protesting. Don't spend money in certain places and in certain ways, and be so stuck in the system and in over debt to have a Gucci bag or something. I don't know, Prada or whatever. And the system will. You see it. You'll love
Yes.
this, Dana. I always say it's like fashion and music. When
Yes.
you stop buying certain things, oh boy, do those institutions and companies, they listen. Oh God, we're losing dollars over here. Everybody's over here. I think people don't realize individually how powerful we are, when you just say, no, I'm not participating.
Yes.
Right? You take your energy, your time, your energy, your money as much as possible away. Those institutions and groups will get very enlightened all of a sudden, when their bottom line is pinched on.
That is so true, Michele. And, so much of it, as you point out, is about where is our attention in every moment. And if a critical mass of us withdraw our attention, whether it's from a hurricane or from any perceived imminent danger, or I say perceived, or like you say, commerce, and we withdraw our attention and all of a sudden that timeline collapses. So, Nikola Tesla, as this is almost a cliche by now, but he said everything is frequency, energy, and vibration, and so are we. And I feel, Michele, that the ascension path now, and you touched on this earlier, is all about the transference of light and frequency, and that happens effortlessly. It's like a star emanating light. Stars don't send light, or the sun doesn't send, they emanate light. And so, now as we move forward and
whoa, let's back up. That's powerful too, because people were saying, the sun, the moon, 3i Atlas. I'm like, oh no, that's a conduit, an emanation. It's not doing it. Just like we're these. So how can, these are two, I feel like anyone listening, if you can get these, especially these couple concepts that you've shared right now, it's going to make the transition next year and beyond so much easier.
Right? Yes. This ongoing transition, and we are all infinite works in progress, as we know, but everybody I talk to, and perhaps you feel the same, it's just everything's speeding up, and that includes our evolution in consciousness, and more people are awakening, and the 3i Atlas, has been said to be a catalyst of a spiritual awakening on this planet, and a consciousness revolution, which really began way, way back, as we know, Michele,
87, 88, harmonic convergence.
the harmonic convergence. Yes, in
Yes.
1987. And then even before that with the counterculture revolution. And I'm sure before that in many different manifestations. And so now, though, we're supported, as you know, by so much cosmic energy and light, coming especially from the sun, a massive ascension accelerator with all these CMEs and sunspot activity and, moving through the photon belt. And then we have gamma rays from the galactic center, and they're all quickening us into.
Dana, do you feel, because one of the things I've kind of been surmising, I've heard this from my guides, but I always step back and I'm looking and going, really what we're talking about, because this has been really since the beginning of time on Earth. It's been fringe, especially when you look during the times of like the salon, the artistic, metaphysical, occult salon, and all these teachings. But for the Earth game to change, these teachings or ways of reframe and looking at things and seeing ourselves, we need it now in the systems. We need it in the organizations, in the group. We need it in the mainstream world more, not just fringe, right?
Yes, absolutely. And, quietly, and, I talk to people and, it could be someone like a nurse, it could be a mailroom attendant in a corporation, quietly and kind of surreptitiously, but now they're feeling safer and safer to have these conversations, let's say with coworkers, or nurses are in the hospital, right in the center of the matrix in a hospital, and they are doing Reiki on their patients, or they're giving them some spiritual teachings or some other meditation. And I have a number of clients who are nurses, and they tell me this, that they're able to bring it in more, but they're still they're in that in between state where they're kind of hiding it, but not as much as before. So slowly but surely it is creeping into the matrix, which is so true what you said. We need this in corporations, we need this in education, in the healthcare system, in every quote system on this planet. It really needs to be revised at the very least, if not collapsed and rebirthed into something new.
I agree. And I think it's going to be it has already happened. It's a little bit of both, but even if we look at history as stuff is collapsing or dismantling, something is building up, always. And I think that's the soul call that people, you said it earlier about the energy, where we put in our energy. It's like, yes, you can be transfixed at the building that's collapsing, or you can look at the one that's coming up, or you could look next door and go, there's a spot there I can create something. And I think that's going to be, we're in that choice point right now. Like, okay, where are you putting your your energy? I think it's, talking to you, I'm so excited. It's just a very powerful time that it's almost like, just dare to do it, dare to believe we're in this. Our greatness has a chance to come through even more. Right? To just crush it, stupefy, like, how did that happen? And it's like, because people gathered, or like what you were saying, individually doing the Reiki, doing whatever in the, because I also have doctors and I have a couple doula clients, and they're working with birth, they're redoing, because the doctors can be kind of nasty, unfortunately, with women, and the whole birth. So they're empowering. And so those decisions, it's almost like I want to scream it from the rooftops, like, you guys are making a difference individually. That's the true difference, is, are you just integrating your gifts everywhere you can? Because that's what the universe is going to pick up on, and that's going to gain momentum.
Yes, exactly. And it's like a snowball, right? That's just being pushed downhill, and it gains speed and momentum. And then before you know it, more and more of us are living and breathing in the 5D. I mean, the 5D and the new earth, the new paradigm, the new Camelot, whatever you want to call it, the new Renaissance, it's a frequency. So the new earth is here in frequency, and we just have to tune ourselves into it,
Mm, that's a
like
good thing.
turning a radio station. But
That's
more and more, we will see it materialize in the physical as more and more of us hop on that ascension train.
yes.
Mhm.
So what helps with that? I guess. Millie, what 24 you've been in the trenches. What do you see? Like
Oh,
less what do you, yeah, what do you see? Because that's where I feel people get kind of like I used to get all the time when I was, especially I was doing a lot of workshops and
mhm,
retreats and stuff,
mhm.
honestly, that I just known forever, because either through my channelings or other people that uh know more than me, that are old Mormons, the Christian. They have these sects that they have their own. They don't talk about it, but they have these secret groups where they get the scoop. They have their own prophecy, and they knew about the
Right.
Bitcoin, all this stuff. And people wanted to, oh, this is how I go. I know. Oh, well, what do you think, Michele? This is going on, and what about this? And I'm like, okay, gang, if do you want to go over there to the war? You want to be Doctors Without Borders, or go? Oh no, I can't do that. And I go, okay, what can you do? I don't want to sit here and waste half hour, 45 minutes
Mhm.
of just what's going on in the world and how this person
Right.
did that or this government. But people get transfixed by that, and then because I had some people say, they're like, they'd come up after the workshop and they'd say, oh my God, I'm so glad you didn't keep talking about that. Because what I find happens is I get too much in fear. I lose my inspiration. I lose my mojo, because I think, what's
Mhm.
the use anyway? And I'm like,
Right.
right, Dana? I'm like,
Right.
well, yeah. If you
Yeah.
don't feel if you're watching everything, of this other world, which you can't do anything confronting wise, but you can do stuff energetically and add to that other frequency. So yeah, that I see a lot of people kind of stopping, like, I can't do, what's the use? It doesn't. So I don't know if
Right.
you have any thought of that, what you've seen, or what could be helpful for people that are kind of
Yes.
finding themselves.
Yes, this that sense of futility, and I've seen it especially
Mm,
in the younger generation. And so the whole I always tell people, find and do what brings you the most joy. I mean, that sounds so
mhm.
simple, but the more joy that you can hold and embody, joy is a state of being. It's not an emotion, it's a
Yeah.
state of
So that's,
being, and it's
yep.
the highest frequency we can hold. And I had an artist friend who took me around to some galleries in Santa Fe. I live here in Taos, New Mexico, and this was many years ago.
Oh,
And
I
she
love that
said,
area. It's a great
"Yes."
area.
And she said, "What color do you think holds the highest frequency?" Because this artist was painting really bright colors. So I go over to purple. She said, "No, it's
Mm,
orange. Orange is the highest frequency. It's the frequency of joy." And joy encompasses love. So I would say very simply that if that's all you ever did was sustain your joy, that's in whatever way you can. That sounds simple, but not always so easy. Then, that will lift you out of that feeling of futility, because life is so beautiful, and on the shamanic path
mm,
we celebrate that beauty, and it's all about connection, right? And
mhm.
so to truly connect heart to heart, and I always say, I did workshops around the world on embodying the wisdom of the heart, and this is easier said than done. It's people have
Yep.
said that the longest path on earth is from the head to the heart. So it's just keep reminding yourself, drop out of your head and into your heart. Where is your attention? Are you we all get distracted. We're humans,
Yeah.
but you don't blame yourself. So one practice I would offer to people, and it's in my new book, Michele, The Years of Living Dangerously. I have at the end of each chapter meditations and practices and activations with sacred geometry, geometric symbols that
Mm,
people can apply to their daily lives. So it's not just,
yeah.
concepts, to assist them in accelerating their spiritual evolution and moving through this kind of swampland of density, that is
Yeah.
is still the 3D, and it's not always easy. So one practice that I recommend is very it seems simple, but it is profound. It's an ancient Toltec practice. They were an
Ah,
indigenous
okay.
Mesoamerican people. And this is called stalking yourself.
Mm,
Stalking, as simply noticing where is your attention in every moment, be centered and focused at your heart center. And when you get thrown off by either painful memories of the past or anxieties about the future, or something happened in the present, that threw you off, it's okay. Just come back, shift your attention back to your heart center, which is the place of unity. It's the still point. It is the seat of our Christ presence, and what I call our launching pad in the ascension on our return path to God. So it's just that heart centering practice. Mm-hmm.
And I love your saying practice, because, whatever, for people listen, like it or not, we have to practice. I practice. I have to do my little inner work, whatever. I have to do things. I have to take time to tune in, go to nature, listen to my higher self, meditate, whatever it is.
Right.
And it just becomes second nature once, in my path, once I let go of that there was this destination, and it hit me even in repatterning work, and because I'm also a hypnotherapist, like, oh, wait a minute, Michele, this may be gone, this may lessen, but it may come back around. So it's not your consciousness, it's this pattern you're expressing through. You just have to do, it might come up. You just you don't stop yourself, until I'm fully healed, until I'm done, then I'll do it. So I think for people to get that idea, like what you're saying, that it's a practice, we have to have tools, practice.
Yes.
Right? Well, I don't know what else you would call that. Like,
right. And I call it the path of divine embodiment, because, as we move forward in our spiritual growth, raising our frequency, we want to make sure that all of that light is grounded in our bodies, our sacred ascension vehicle. And that's so easy on the spiritual path to float out of the crown and connect with our star families and Arcturus or wherever, which is wonderful. And we, and it's so beautiful and amazing to connect with the cosmos and bring in messages. But we also want to ground the light into our bodies and through our feet into the crystalline core of Mother Earth, because we can't be of service as effectively on this earth plane if we don't.
Very true. Yeah. The grounding. I mean, we are here. Our soul is yippee going through all of this. And I know that wanting to check out, I had that early on my path too. In fact, I was so one time like expanded coming out of yoga. I was so ungrounded. I was driving through the mountains of Malibu, and I went up. I didn't get in an accident, but I kind of went up a little bit with my car, the side of the mountain. And I used to think it was so cool. And my teacher one of my teachers snapped and said, "You're not going to be able to do anything on the earth plane when you're other floating around." He said,
right.
"You're not." And I was like, "Really?" He goes, "No." He goes, "You got to embody. You got to anchor that." He goes, "You're if you're in the clouds," he goes, "good luck getting anything done." And
That's so true. Yes, and we forget, because it's intoxicating to be in the clouds.
Yes, exactly. It's like, what's that saying? You gotta. Even Jung said it. You gotta. What is it? Put the foundation, underneath what you're creating. And that's another thing, Karen. I just always kind of laugh at when I'm like, guys, there's no fairy godmother or like, Wizard of Oz. We're gonna click our heels and everything's changed. I go, we came here to do it. It's like, hello guys. Because one time somebody called in, they're like, well, I don't know how is this going to happen? How are we going to have and I go, we're doing the grunt work, gang.
Right. The grunt work. And, it's interesting. People have said that, the indigos, we've heard a lot about these different generations of beings, and the indigos started coming in even in the late 1950s.
Yes.
But this generation of the indigos, which I'm part of, I'm a little younger than the late 1950s, but I'm part of that. And so it's like the indigos are here to break down the old paradigm, to dismantle the old ways of being and doing. And then we have the other generations, or groups of souls, rather, following, which, include the rainbow kids, the crystal kids, and I don't even know what it is now. But
all are the same. It's still the same. But Yeah.
Okay. And these beings are here to rebuild, and as well as the indigos. I mean, we're all going to rebuild together,
Yeah.
So um, that's why it's such an exciting, though can be alarming in some ways,
Yes.
unsettling, let's say, time that we're moving through, which is the birth pangs of a whole new humanity, of Homo luminous, the human being
Yes.
of
The
light.
Homo luminous. Yes.
Right.
That's
Mhm.
where we're going into the light body. That's less density.
Yes.
I know even my diet has changed, and it's
Yes.
not. I'm not trying to not eat, but I'm not eating as much, and I'm definitely eating different types of food, very much more simply.
Yes.
It's kind of interesting.
Yes, I find that too. I don't have I don't have as much of a need to like snack throughout the day or whatever. I
Yeah.
think more and more the light is sustaining us.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Yes, it's so true. It's really, I mean, that's
Mhm.
why I love these kind of conversations, because when we really start, you know, talking and sharing with each other, having these, that's why my new
Right.
tagline now is join the conversation and keep the conversation going, where it's so
Yeah.
confirming, like, oh God, you're doing
Yes.
that too. You're having that too.
Right.
It's like, it to me confirms that, I think you said earlier, we're already in this process. It's
Right.
already happening. It's
It's
already
all
been happening.
already happening. And how exciting. I mean, how many souls lined up for this experience? It's
Yes.
probably one of the greatest experiments since the times of Atlantis,
Yeah.
and we're going to surpass the achievements of Atlantis, and we're not going to self-destruct. See, I
Yeah, I
think the
agree with
younger
you.
generation, they're worried about AI taking over their jobs. They're
Yeah.
worried about, the environment, understandably so. But
Right.
Mother Earth is well on her way into the 5D. I mean, I've seen this at so many sacred sites around the world where I've gone multiple times, and the frequency is even higher and higher each time I go. And so, parts of the physical planet are in the 5D and beyond. And then, like I said, the new Earth is a frequency that's available to us all the time. I do feel that we'll see it in our lifetimes, Michelle. We will see it
Oh, I do
materialize.
too. Yeah,
Yes.
I do as well, because the
Mhm.
changes, I probably 10, 15 years ago wouldn't have said that, maybe even five. No, but the way things are so moving, and yeah, where we're at, the way that it's shifting,
Yes,
I think we're going to see it. Yeah, I agree with you. A good um,
I do.
chunk of it, a
And
good experience of it. Yeah.
right. And no matter what's going on at quote out there, just know that, like you said earlier, the only true reality with the capital R is inside of yourself. So just remembering to gather inward. And I always say this, to just gather inward,
Yeah.
and that will see you through, and rely
Yeah.
more on your intuition, that gut feeling that you get
Yes.
instantly. Instantly, you feel something, and then you might do the opposite, and you say, "Oh, if I had only listened to
Yeah.
my gut." And
Got
so
to
our
test it.
intuition.
Got to test it, right?
Yes, exactly. And the more you start trusting, in
Mm.
your own gifts and powers, which everyone has, the more you begin to live effortlessly in what I call the miracle zone, where everything
Yeah.
you need is delivered to you at exactly the right time. The people coming into your life, you say, "Oh, you're walking down the street and it's so sunny. Oh, I wish I had a hat." And you just reach down and there's a baseball cap right on the road. So just like, instant manifestations, precipitations. I mean, that's a mundane example, but this is, there are no hierarchy of miracles. So.
Right. And I think, I know what's helped me on my path is to have more people that have these kinds of conversations, whether in person,
Mhm.
online. Oh, and by the way, I feel when you say yes to that and that's what you want, you'll get it. I know it sounds cliche-ish, but it happens to me all the
Mhm.
time, in the market, on the street, in the coffee,
Yes.
that exchange of this kind of higher vibrational knowing and confirmation. So that's where I choose to put more of my energy. And I think we, at some point, you have
Yeah.
to make a decision. Are you, because your life does change. It's
Yeah.
not to say you don't have ups and downs or some little bad patches, but like you said earlier, the
Right.
joy, you stay with the frequency of joy. There's no just like
Mhm.
love, there's no opposite to that. I've had such joyful times even in my worst parts of my life that I've patches,
Mhm.
rough patches, and boy oh boy, that pulls in the miracles, that pulls in the you
Yes.
know, the blessings and
Right.
epiphanies. But yeah, I think
Right.
now it's like we got to what I think it's like, well, what are you choosing?
Right. Right. What are you choosing to see? And as we mentioned earlier, it is all about perception.
Yeah,
Are you looking at the old building collapse or the new building being built, as you mentioned? And it's so much about moment by moment noticing where
right.
your attention is. And you can make corrections, without blaming
Yeah,
yourself, without the whip to the back. You just make a subtle shift
yeah.
within yourself and everything changes. Everything.
So
For the
true.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, so true for the better. So, Dana, tell us. I know we've touched on your book. I'd love to know a little
Mhm.
bit more about your path and the front lines and how
Mhm.
you perhaps even got on this path. You know.
Well, thank you, Michelle. Yes, well, let's see, going way back, I started my professional life as a journalist in New York City, living in the
Oh,
static interference of Manhattan, which
love
I
that.
loved, as a young
Yeah.
person. It was exciting. And I was an independent journalist. So I was always living on the edge. I never knew where my next paycheck was coming from when I had to sell these stories to magazines and newspapers. I wrote for a lot of well-known publications. And I remember deciding, well, if I'm going to freelance, I want to be as free as possible, meaning I want to travel the world. So I started picking places that I wanted to visit. It was my soul choosing these sacred sites, really kind of not consciously in my brain, but my soul choosing them. And then I'd have to convince my editors, oh, you've got to send me to Bali or India or wherever, or Angkor in Cambodia. And so I wound up traveling the world as a journalist, and I wrote a book about my journeys to sacred sites, and that came out in 2011, quite a
Oh,
while ago, called Sojourns of the Soul: One Woman's Journey Around the World and Into Her Truth. And that was my first way of bringing this out to a larger public about all of the magic and the mystical revelations and insights and spiritual growth that I experienced at these various sites, along with a lot of ancient wisdom woven throughout the chapter as well. And then I wrote a novel in the meantime called The Third Muse, which is devoted to the divine feminine wisdom of Mary Magdalene and the Magdalene order. So it's really kind of a hybrid book. It's fiction, but there are a lot of Magdalene teachings and wisdom in there, as well as it also carries a healing vibration. And then fast forward, my new book, The Years of Living Dangerously: Lessons from the Front Lines of 21st Century Lightworker, takes those journeys to sacred sites to a whole new level, where I was leading groups on sacred journeys, ascension missions around the world to various sites, like Egypt, for example, which is almost like a second home to me. It's so familiar, and I've been there 5 times. And so Egypt and the Mary Magdalene sites in the south of France, the Holy Land as a whole. Now it's, has changed a bit, but way back, like years ago, I went
mhm.
twice. And then I have a chapter even on Mount Shasta here in California, which is,
Oh, wow.
yes,
Okay, that's a
one of the
very
very,
catalytic area. That's what do you make of Mount Shasta? What is your
what do I make of it?
yeah, your take, your vibe, your experience? I've been
Yeah,
there as well too. It's kind of interesting place. What do you
it's
sense?
interesting. It's very powerful. The earth
Hmm.
energies, especially, it's said to be represent the earth chakra of the planet. Various
Mm.
sites correlate to different chakras of Mother Earth.
Hmm.
And I find that the fairy energies, the fairy kingdom, the
Oh,
elementals,
yes.
oh my gosh, those plants and trees are vibrating, and Michelle, in colors that I've never seen before. It's such a new earth portal, and a massive vortex of light. I really feel that it's like the motherboard, certainly of North America, in terms of North American sacred sites. And then, of course, there is the legendary connection with Telos, the underground civilization of descendants of Lemurians who live in this higher fifth dimensional realm called Telos, underneath the mountain in a higher dimension. And
That's what I
so,
thought. There was a lot of Lemurian energy. Now, do you feel more of that's?
yes,
Let's talk a little bit more of that Telos. I didn't know that part. That's interesting to me.
yes. And so, after the fall of Atlantis and Lemuria, many, many millennia ago, and, that was, people say, oh, well, they were so advanced, and they were. I mean, well, many of us were there, so many of us,
Yes, yes.
especially
I'm
those on
back.
the path of light. And, there were some,
Mm.
according to some accounts, Lemurians, and I'm sure, yes, Atlanteans too, they escaped the cataclysms and set up new colonies. For example, in Lemuria, some of them escaped through underground tunnels and chasms and wound up in the inner earth city of Telos, which is about higher wisdom
Ah,
and your connection to God. And this is part of the Agartha network of inner earth cities. And they preserved a lot of the Lemurian teachings. They are said to live in a fifth dimensional realm with very advanced ways of life, healing. They're master healers. They use crystals in their
yeah.
healing. There are lots of temples, apparently. And again, this exists in a higher dimension, not visible to the naked eye. Although it's interesting, there have been reports of some of them coming to the surface. Now, it's been said that they will not return to the surface as a group of higher dimensional beings until the frequency on planet Earth is higher, and that is understandable, right? Until we're ready to meet them. But I don't know. I mean, some people say it's folklore. I really feel it to be true. I remember
No.
seeing a couple when I was there a long time ago. I don't know. I've been there about 8 times. I love them. I can't get enough of Mount Shasta. And so this couple just seemed different in some ways. They looked at me and they smiled, and they just did not feel to be of this earth.
Yeah,
And
I've
I
seen
remember
stuff like
looking at
that.
them, and I turned briefly to say something to the person I was with, and then I looked back and they were gone. So, I mean, there are many magical happenings. I took a group of people there, again, to anchor light into the planetary grids as part of, my spiritual mission and service work. And one woman came with her son, and she was a little bit late returning to our meeting. And she said, she came back breathless. She said, I can't believe it. We saw an angel. And she showed us the photo, captured this kind of milky white substance hovering in the trees in the shape of an angel with wings. And so it's the veils are so thin to non-existent there and at other sacred sites. A lot of
Yeah.
magical happenings. I have other stories, but I don't want to take up too much
No,
time.
no, no. It's great. I love hearing this because you never know. I've had I used to do a lot of retreats at this place called Las Brisas in Myriad, a kind of unincorporated land,
Mm.
and clients, and then they became really good friends of mine. They had I stayed on the land for like 3 months before they moved there,
Mm.
by myself at the time with my cat. What was I thinking? Just like
Oh
out
my
in the middle of
God.
no, with a cat, no less. But it was fine.
Oh my.
But I used to see this older indigenous native guy, Native American, and then a taller, younger one.
Mm-hmm.
And the son used to make fun of me. Oh, Michele thinks she sees this. Until this old timer, 90 years old, that lived there, that sold like refurbished appliances. And he came, came with to do a delivery. And he says to my client's son, yeah, your land. Yep, it's pretty guarded, and it is. I told these people, when you buy this land, there's no way you're going to be able to make a profit because it's guarded and protected.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy goes, "You seen the Indians yet?" Out of the blue, while he's putting the refrigerator in because they bought a refrigerator from him. And he's like, what? He goes, the Indians, they're around here. And he described him, the guy. And then my client's son said, no, but my friend has. And then I got to tell you, because I feel we're going to see some sightings. One time we went down this gully, the most magical place behind their house, their property, and we found ourselves, I don't know what you call it. It was like going, you're hiking down, and then all of a sudden, instead of like high desert, it was like lush, almost like a Costa Rica. And I'm looking around and I see these like caves set in, and Anastasia sitting there squatting, and people walking. Do you know, Dana, I'm seeing this and I'm like, because sometimes I see things and do I share it or not? All of a sudden, a couple of the people, one of them was a stockbroker. He was working with me, but he still was, he's not a metaphysician. He looks and he goes, Michele, do you see that? And I go, oh, what? And he goes, Indians. I go, you see it too? He goes,
oh,
yeah.
wow.
They appeared, yes. And so many sightings of that. So I'm wondering, when you're talking about, Shasta, and then seeing these people, I'm wondering, I'm sensing there may be more, especially around what I was told, that there's these different vortexes and that are opening. And one where I spend a lot of time, kind of near Malibu that I go to, and the guides were saying, like, if you feel drawn to an area, just go there, go spend time, drive there, walk there, hike, right? And some of these are in our cities. People keep forgetting that there's sacred sites everywhere, not just, out in the mountains. You have a lot where you live. There's a lot. I mean, oh my God, I love that area where you live in. What's it like, Abiquiu? Have you ever been?
Abiquiu?
Oh my gosh.
Northern New Mexico. It said there's a shaman behind every rock here, and it's so true what you say, Michele. These sacred sites are everywhere. Well, there could be one in your backyard, And I was just in New York City to promote my book that just came out at the end of October. And I lived in Manhattan for 22 years, and I always felt, wait a minute, what is it about this city where so many people are drawn? It's almost like a magnet. Well, New York City is built on top of a bed of granite. And when granite is in its highest form, it is a crystal. If it is under pressure and heat for a long, long time, it becomes a crystal. So Manhattan is a giant crystal, and no wonder it's attracting all these people. And so people would think, wait a minute, that is such a crazy place. Actually, New York City is one of the major light centers of the new earth, right there in that city. So they're everywhere.
I would agree. I spent quite a bit of time there, and also in Chicago, and people would say, well, how can you, Michele, you're so spiritual, how can you be in there? I stay there for periods of time. And I said, hey, have you ever seen anybody crossing the streets, hundreds of people, and not bumping into each other? I go, that's meditation.
Oh, that is great.
I go, and I tried it. I tried it one time where I wasn't in the flow, and I bumped into someone, and I'm like, no, they are in a zone meditating in their own flow, and it worked. And I met so many people that were very consistently focused on a spiritual path or awakening, very high level. And I would tell people, listen, in California, where I'm from, I'm like, listen, they dilly-dally. When you get on the East Coast, they're like serious about it. They're following through. Yes.
Right. They'll mow you over if you're getting away. Yeah. Oh my God.
But they're serious about their spirituality, and they're really doing it. They're like taking it on and saying, I'm integrating this, in my life. So
yes, there's so much chaos and static interference, they have to do it. My yoga teacher in New York said, you guys are living in New York City because you are on the accelerated path of enlightenment. But I thought that was funny. And so there's so many wonderful gifts and blessings to sacred science, just like what you saw the Native Americans. Like I call that I call them interdimensional bleed throughs.
Yes, yeah, bleed. That's what I call it too. It's a bleed through. We get these
Yes.
bleed throughs, and it never ceases sometimes to amaze me. I've had multiple experiences of that where what you might call normies or everyday people that have seen it too, and we've looked at it. They've had the same experience, and I'm like, when you're relaxed, you because it's like you said earlier, it's part of you, it's part of us. It might be trained out of us, or we don't emphasize it in our structures in societal living, the norms, but people can feel or see or pick up or know who's going to call or text them. It's just that needs to be reinforced. If it's reinforced, you'll have more of those experiences. And I think that's kind of also one of the things I'm hearing you say. It's like, you just have to keep doing it. That consistent practice, you will have these experiences, the support, the help over and over and over. It just, I don't know. I think our mind works that way kind of, but we had a question in the chat Lemuria. Did Lemuria, they encoded crystals with wisdom, right? Lemuria worked, well, I know Atlantis as well did both. I always say like the Lemuria is more the intuition feeling, and then you've got the logos. But what do you sense with the crystals, like you were saying, which I find is fascinating about New York, under the granite, all that's like a huge crystal grid there.
Right. Well, a lot of these crystals are, supposedly still buried in the earth. The Atlantic, you've seen the quartz points, the striated ones with lines, of course, lots of horizontal lines going through, are said to be Lemurian seed crystals. And the Atlantean master crystals, some of them still exist. It's debatable whether they're far underground in a 3D cavern or in a higher dimensional realm. You have to tune in to decide where that is. But there were at least 8 to 12 Atlantean master crystals. And one of them is said to still be buried under the crystal beds of Arkansas, which has the largest quartz deposit in North America, believe it or not. And I think Brazil is number one. So, so we are just these, my goodness, crystals, so many people are attracted to them and love to work with them. And my husband and I used to go to the gem show in Tucson every year. We were just addicted to and I didn't even, after a while, you can only buy so many crystals, right? Because you don't have enough room to put them in. And so I went, I said, no, let's go anyway. I want to be in their energy, And so they are great teachers, and we are becoming more crystalline in our cellular structure, less electromagnetic and more crystalline. When you think about that instant, rapid ability to transmit and receive, like a kind of a crystal tower in a sense, we're becoming that.
We're becoming that. So I'm wondering, so maybe that's, I even think with the internet, and you think if you want a secure line, like some podcasts say, you have to plug into the Ethernet, you can't use your Wi-Fi because it might, come out. It seems like these are kind of training wheels, so to speak, to get us to connect into that technology, perhaps within ourselves.
Yes. And when you think about the internet, it sounds very close to Indra's net, from the Vedic tradition. Indra's net is a net that the goddess Indra cast over humanity that connects every single human being. And we're connected, heart to heart in this net. And so one of the great things about the internet is that increased connection. And then, of course, everything on this duality plane has its opposite. So taking anything to an extreme, like spending so much time on the internet or on social media or whatever, is also, not as healthy. So you have to find that happy medium, that balance with all of this new technology. I love new technology, but I
do as well.
I think, it's so exciting, but it's, again, to keep it in check. because
Yeah.
we're always going to need that human touch. And people say, oh, well, I think books are going to be, completely unnecessary. People won't want books. Well, I just read an article today, Michele, said that the younger generation is moving back
Yeah.
to actual physical books.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, that's fascinating, because the young generation is the one that really loves technology.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the tactile, I had that flash actually early this morning. I was watching someone that had a podcast that has a Substack, and I just started one myself because I'm also a writer and author. And I thought,
Mm-hmm.
I got a flash, and I thought, no, people are going to want the books again. We need new books. We need
Yeah.
new information or perceptions or perspectives. But
Yes.
I kind of thought this. I had a flash, and I thought, no, the writing's coming back.
It's
The
coming back.
word.
The
Yeah.
word, the power of the word. And I see words as energy packets. They're activators. They carry frequencies, and they, should be well chosen, to vibrate with light and the truth. And so I take it very seriously, using words and putting them together, and, also as a vehicle to deliver that ancient wisdom, which, by the way, is also woven throughout the book. Even though it's about all of my hair-raising experiences at these sacred sites, taking groups on ascension missions, tests, trials, near extinction events, really. It was so crazy, but also the miracles, and a lot of the ancient wisdom, let's say, of the Essene Mystery School in the Holy Land, that nurtured Yeshua, Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary. So much of their wisdom has been buried over time and by the dominant channels, and all the indigenous wisdom, the Egyptian mysteries. It's all woven through the book.
Yeah. Now, are you bringing the Mary Magdalene energy in your book? What are you?
Yes.
You are.
Yes.
Okay. So that's fascinating, because I'm sensing a resurgence.
Yes.
With Mary Magdalene. And so that would be part of the ancient wisdom coming in that you're speaking.
Absolutely. All of the Magdalene teachings, and their practices in there, and her role as an Essene. And I write about her gospel. Now, some of these words have kind of a religious tinge, although people, should really look at these beings as just so much bigger, right, than how
they
we
are.
define them. And
They were mystics.
Mystics. Thank you. You read
Yes,
my mind.
right?
I was going to say they were great mystics and teachers and healers. And this is not just from the Essene community. And even though I'm close to Magdalene, and I've really tried to share so many of her teachings and her gospel about how to activate your light body. He could not have accomplished his mission, Yeshua, without Mary Magdalene's assistance. And she was the mystical equal to Jesus of Nazareth. And there are so many masters in many other traditions. For those who identify with the Eastern wisdom tradition, we have Babaji and Muktananda, and we have Saint Germain from the Ascended Master tradition. And all of these masters, once walked the earth, as we know, mastered the lessons of life, and merged with their individualized immortal God presence, which is their God, their I am presence, and made their ascension. And they live in the seventh dimensional realm, and they can come and go at will. Like, if Mary Magdalene wanted to come back, she could be here in an instant. I don't think a lot of them want to come back.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking at my fine print going, I'm not sure. I remember incarnating, and I had this look of, do I really want to? And I never understood that as a kid. And then years later, my 30s, I went, oh yeah, now I know what that look is. That I kind of joke, but yeah, I think this is great. The book that you've done, and you've woven some of your experiences as well, right?
My personal experiences and all of the tests and trials. And people say, well, why did you use the word dangerous? Well, that's a good question. I remember the film, The Year of Living Dangerously, by the great Australian director, Peter Weir, one of my favorite films. I just added an S on it because these years of doing this light work very publicly were extremely challenging. I had so many initiations, so many energetic retaliations, energetic pushback, sabotage, interference. As I said, near extinction events where I was almost taken out. a number of times. And this is what happened to anyone, who's doing it so publicly in this way. And throughout time, people holding the light and bringing the truth. I mean, that's always been a threat to what I call the anti-forces. And, we live on a duality plane. We have the light and the dark. We can't have one without the other. The masculine and feminine, spirit and matter, heart and mind, sacred and the sensual. Everything we experience is defined by dualities. So, of course, we're going to have the opposite of the light pushing back. And I wrote about that. And I wanted people to know, look, if you've experienced this, you're not alone. Keep going. You're always protected and supported, as you said earlier, by that higher guiding force that is always conspiring on your behalf, no matter what your circumstances. And then throughout are also many of the miracles that astounded me, that happened, when I took groups to these sacred sites to do this light work.
Yeah. Very powerful. Yeah, we do have that oppositional force, and sometimes it's part of the duality. It's not necessarily directed. Like sometimes people say, I think I have a hex, and I go, no, just think about when you want to do that diet and you're like, part of you is, yay, I'm doing that, I'm going to work out. And then the other part after a long day goes, I had 20 chocolate chip cookies today, maybe I need one more. I go, there's always that part in between. Yes. And you got to know how only your practice, the consistency in your spiritual gets you on the other side. You have to have something bigger than the ego. Now, Dana, I've loved this. You definitely have to come back, and maybe even when I do some lives on YouTube. I love what you're sharing. I love how because you've got good, I noticed a difference. I've been doing this podcast a long time, and it's like, I was worried around 2011. I was kind of really worried. Because what was happening was, I think because of the 2012, which really the major changes really happened around 2011. I would say between 2011 and about 2017, I was like, oh no, it's going to be like, I did a weekend course and I can help, you know what I mean? It was just like everybody. And, and I'd laugh. I go, look, I've worked with stockbrokers and traders, channeling, doing psychic readings, and maybe I get a tip or I get a guides tell me something. I don't now come out and say that I'm a psychic, a stockbroker or trader, or I'm a trader now. People got to be, please know your limits. But now, like people like you, there is like, the real information, I mean, the stuff that's starting to really come out and get more public out there. Even some of the corporate client, it's a whole, because everybody was, oh, I got the package and now I've got my book and I'm mindful. And, we went through all of that. But now even some of the corporate people, they're getting the undiluted downloads. They're really channeling. It's like, I'm like, going, wow, there's been this quantum leap. I don't know if you would call it a veil dissolved or something, but it's just like, wow, like the information you brought us today. I'm like, wow, this is great. So I don't know what that level of breakthrough, not that the others weren't great, it all was good. And we had like household names on, people that are, the leaders, quote unquote, were the leaders. That's changing. But I just know, I don't know. Do you notice? I just feel like there's something different that's coming through.
Yes, something different. I think people are taking their power back. They're saying, well, look, this paradigm really isn't working for me. There must be a better way. So I'm just going to, trust myself and bring out my gifts in the best way that I can. And I do find that more and more people want to be of service because they see there's such a need. And there are so many people who either have just stepped on the spiritual path or aren't on the spiritual path at all. And they're hungry for higher meaning in their lives because there's a sense like, well, I've accomplished this. I have a great career. I'm making all this money, but what else is there? Is this all there is? Like that Peggy Lee song. Is this all there is? So they're
but there's definitely better information coming through, less diluted, less formulaic. It's like clearer information, more an alignment to more expanded consciousness or advanced information. And maybe that's a testament to all of us doing the inner work and sticking
Right.
to that. We've created some kind of critical mass or quantum shift.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it seems like something like that's going on. And all I know is I'm for it. I'm here for it. I love it. I'm just,
I
I'm like,
I agree. It's so exciting. That's so
yeah.
true. More and more of us are what I call frequency specific, and we're finding each other.
Maybe
We're just
that's
kind of
it.
like,
Maybe that's it. Yeah.
yes, answering a homing signal. We're all finding each other and just, lighting each other up and again and again. And it's spreading throughout the planetary grid in ways that we cannot imagine. This conversation and all of your conversations,
Yeah.
Michele, that you have with your guests.
Yeah. If it was a pope, and I don't mind potpourri, but I think you just said it. What did you say? Frequency specific?
Frequency specific with each other.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. It's like you're getting the key codes are opening, or soul codes. You're getting what
Yes.
you need or what's missing. It's like it's coming. It's kind of fitting together. It's the ping
Yeah.
is getting answered, and it's like, okay, that I needed that bit of information or that energy. And it's like this transmission, I feel, is like happening.
Right. That is a great word. It's more than teachings. They are transmissions.
Yeah, I think so.
Mhm.
It's really more of that, the energy, the transmission, and then whatever comes, which by the way is what 3i Atlas told me, because it's not teaching, it's not like guides, it's a
Mhm.
frequency, it's a transmission. And then
Yes.
however you take it and embody it, you do what you need to with it, or what it helps you do. It helped really inspire me
Right.
and get me a little bit more motivator out of a funk, or it's like, okay, what do you need? I guess it's like listening to music. Different people get different
Right.
things out of it, right? Or
So
yeah.
true. So true. A multi-layered effect. It's like reading a book. The books today, the books being written, I feel today, a lot of them are encoded with different layers of activations and transmissions, and you receive what you're meant to receive and what you call in.
Yeah. And then we've got somebody in the chat saying, so what are you saying about 2012? What changed? Well, it started 2011. I feel like what happened is, and you, Dana, you mentioning people going back to books. What I saw, because since I've been doing this podcast since it originally started on Cosmic Dimensions Radio, it was a internet radio station. So I interviewed a lot of new age artists and musicians, and that was interesting, because they were always like, well, let me help you with the sound, or do you want to use, and I'm like, oh God, they're so picky, oh, that I heard the leaf blower in the back, edit that, edit that out. Oh my God. Anyway, but I loved it. I learned a lot. What I see now is, and I think this is all across the board, I've been talking about this for the last year and really pushing it on my people that I work with individually. People are more refined. There's more information. People are getting more, what's the word, discerning. People's palettes for information. Consumer. People aren't lining up for the iPhone. Back in the day, you had to have the new people were paying. I had clients that paid $1,000 to their assistant to wait in line to have the latest iPhone.
Wow.
People aren't doing that anymore. So what has changed is I am seeing a movement. Thank God. I was hoping for this, because I grew up old school. Like, you mentor, you teach. Even I had clinicals. I trained in psychology, transfer psychology, different things. You had your clinicals. You went through it, I'm sure too, Dana. It's like, I didn't come out and go, oh, hey guys, I did this course, and now I'm going to tell you at 22,
Yeah, it was a long path of hard work. Yes.
Well, I'm seeing it to some degree. 2011 and for sure 2012 to about 2017. Everybody, and I'm not saying people, do your thing and you share your gifts and this and that, but I am seeing a change where people are wanting people that are actually like mentoring, that have experience, that have more time more training, more study,
right?
Because they're realizing, oh God, I did all those, whatever, and I didn't get anything. And it's like, well, you wouldn't have gotten a lot from me at a certain age too, because there's that wisdom. And that's also the Aquarian age, because Aquarius is ruled both by Saturn and Uranus. So the traditional, that put in the time, the energy, the training. So yeah, there was a lot of fly by nights, and I worked with a lot of people that, oh God, I spent this and I did this money, and I didn't learn it in this and that, and I'm like, well, yeah, because even how gifted you are, God, even a music prodigy studies for a while before they do concerts. So I'm
Right.
seeing, right? I'm seeing it going back, and maybe that ties in, Dana, to the books. I'm seeing people going back and going, I really want to work with someone or train with someone or read that book because they did XYZ. They got the time in, the energy, they've got the
Right.
experience. And I think people are just more savvy. It's like, well, I mean, I want the better expert or training,
Mm-hmm.
myself, from someone that to
Yes.
help me. Um,
Right.
so I think it's finding its level, and so that's the change in the chat. Somebody was asking me the question. I think that's what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, in my
Shifting
opinion,
more
things are
from
worse. I don't see that. I do not see
things
it
are worse.
worse.
Huh. No.
No,
No.
I see that being advertised. And in fact, I started a few years ago collecting signs of awakening. See, it's that metaphysical axiom. Do you have the ears to hear, psychic ear,
Mm-hmm.
the lips,
Mm-hmm.
right, to say the truth, and the eyes to see, the third eye? The
Right.
signs of advancement and awakening, right, are everywhere. People, it's there's more signs of that than the lower level stuff that's going on. The only difference is all this has
Mm-hmm.
been going on in the world. The only difference is we have the internet and we see it. Everything that's been going on has been happening. If you've been around a while, honestly,
Yes.
it's just that we have a different news cycle. We have a different way of getting that information, and and stop overlooking at that, people, because that is being used to stop you and control you. Whether your scary
Mm-hmm.
self inside, the part of you that's fearful, or you want to say the
Mm-hmm.
cabal, the lead, whatever you want to term it, it's also a part of you. Because if you're focusing
Mm-hmm.
on that, I'm focusing on, let's create, let's do it, let's build the new, let's go, let's talk, let's chat, let's get through the issues, creating
Yes.
solutions. That's where I'm at. I don't,
Right.
the
Right. And all of
dismantling's
that,
going to happen, right? Anyway.
is the collective shadow, and
Yeah.
then, it's a human nature to project one's own shadow onto other beings, right? So they simply, when humanity heals enough within themselves, within their psyches, and that split between us versus them, either or, self and other, heals, Michele, then
Yes.
we will rise above that.
Yeah.
We will.
And by the way, I got to say something here, because, my friends are always saying, well, you can say that because you're brown. No, guys, no, there is not more racism. That's a manipulation. And I'll just say it. That is a manipulation. Everybody, the soul, I look at these as like lower harmonic of the soul, with this identity or identity politics, or I'm a this, that, or it's got to be a woman, or it's got to be a this, a
Mhm.
person of color. That's so low level. That's not the soul. The soul is beyond that. That's like saying, oh, I'm only part of my neighborhood where I live. So everybody listening, stop focusing on that. Focus on your soul. What can you create? Gather with others. What can you share? What can you put in the world? Your world changes by your perception, right? By what you see. And that's how people, your experience. I've traveled all over the world. I've traveled all over the United States. I've lived overseas a few times, anywhere from a year to 3 years. And yeah, I had great experiences 99% of the time. And I think it has to just do with how you show up in the world, honestly. So anyway, sorry about that. I had to say that because somebody put that in the chat, and I'm like, I just feel like it's such a trap to get into, and I see a lot of people falling into it. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, that are supposed to be quote unquote spiritual or spiritual
Right.
teachers, teaching someone it has to look this way, or if this person doesn't get in, it's got to be a woman, it's got to be this Democrat.
Mhm.
It's like, I just think that let those, you just said that's the mainstream consciousness shadow playing out. We're going to create something that's so beyond that I think we have to take less energy. We have to put less energy on that and pull it away into the new playground. Let's just say.
Yes, I love that. Playground. Yes, it's not a
Yeah.
workshop anymore. It's a playground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Positive energy, positive push. Yes, Elgato. Yes, yes, yes. Don't you're more than everybody's more than what their skin is. We're so powerful as we come together in this higher level, um, that I think, like what Dana, you said, we just don't know the quantum leaps and the miracles we create or draw in for ourselves individually and collectively. But it does take practice, and like from your book, Dana, it takes shifting the mindset to stabilize it in that focus and frequency, because the aggregate mainstream, the mainstream consciousness, the beta consciousness is at the level of gossip. And not that
Mhm.
gossip's bad, little chit chat here and there. That's how people connect in, but it stays there. So that's the medium range of the mainstream world, is on that vibration and that focus. So I don't know about you, but you don't get much done at that level of creating. Yeah. So anyway, I'm off my little soapbox. I just had to answer that in the chat because I'm like, I just have to squash that stuff. And it's like, I do look a certain way, so I can say certain things, and and so I'm gonna use that. But Dana, let people know how they can connect with you more. And you have, I went to your website. You have quite a few books. I know your most recent one is The Years of Living Dangerously, Lessons from the Front Lines of a 21st Century Lightworker. And we touched on that one today. And that does have the Mary Magdalene information, I think you said.
Yes. Yes. Well,
Wisdom.
Michele, yes, the people can go to my website, which is danamicucci.com. That's DANAMICUCCI.com. You'll see my books there, some of which I mentioned. And also, I do shamanic healing sessions, and
Oh,
I
you
have
do. So
other
how
healing
is that on
sessions.
your website? People can
Yes, yeah,
connect
I
with
do.
you. Okay.
I specialize in soul retrievals, and that people can read more about it and contact me at my email, dana@danamicucci.com. And then I also list my events. I'm taking a group to Peru and Bolivia next
Okay.
October. So I still have spots on that sacred journey if anyone's interested. That's not on my website right now, but they can also
Okay.
email me for the itinerary and more information. I'm also doing an Ascended Master retreat in Wyoming at Grand Teton National Park, which is another huge vortex of light, where the Ascended Masters meet in the etheric realm. And that is a whole body of wisdom, the Ascended Master teaches and practices. That'll be this summer, and that is a 3-day retreat. So that's on my website, along with audios for your ongoing illumination and spiritual growth, audios on everything from other sacred journeys to the Magdalene mysteries, the Egyptian mysteries, the Holy Grail,
Oh,
healing,
wow. I love you've done
indigenous
so much
wisdom.
research.
Yes,
Deep
yes,
dive. That's great.
a lot of research, and also, like you said, Michele, wisdom through experience. Just through, it's actually through lived direct experience. That we are
Yes.
able to share as much as we can. And so, yeah, and of course, my nature as a journalist, I like to delve deeply
Yeah.
into topics and subjects. So, also a lot of research too.
Yeah. We need people that like you that can do that so we can, learn. Sunray's going, whoa, whoa, still on air. Very telling. Yes, it is, Sunray. We're still
Oh,
I'm enjoying this. And then
oh,
thank you, Dana. He's saying, yeah, thank you all for being here. And Dana, thank you for being here as well. I've really enjoyed our conversation. Come back anytime. I
oh,
love what you're sharing, and I love what I've learned from you as well. Got
oh, well, thank
some
you.
good info and insight from you. So thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a joy to be on your show and to connect with you. And I'd love to be back whenever that's
Absolutely.
possible. And yes, I just wish all the best to all your listeners out there.
You too. Take good care.
Take care.
Bye. All right, so lights. Wow, this has been great. I think this replay, I'll either, El Gato, gracias. I'll either have this edited, either it should get edited, if not later today, for sure by Friday, to be on the podcast. And you can listen to it on Podbean or all the podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, Google Play, etc., etc. Also, I will upload, I do, to YouTube as well, because I've been uploading some of the replays there as well. So some of you that prefer to listen on YouTube, you can listen to this conversation there. And also, while you're at it, why don't you like and subscribe? Video, El Gato. Well, it won't be. It'll be with the spectrums. We do some awakening conversations. There's 2 playlists on awakenings with Michele on YouTube. One of them is the replays of Podbean. So it's just going to have the, visualizer on it, but it'll be audio. But that's okay. You can just turn it on and, go for a walk or run or work out or do whatever you're doing and just listen. And then we do have a playlist of awakening conversations, and those are lives and video casts. So you can go there. We're starting to do more there. I just had to fit it in my schedule. So, and get my producer and everybody, together to kind of organize. But we are doing more there. We will be doing something with Nelson and Grace, also with 3i Atlas, the meditation portal. Also, so hope to see you there, Elgato, and come back. I love you. You ignited my little sparky side, so that's good. I love questions. I love real deal questions. I don't mind disagreement or people having different opinions or pushback. It's all good. Keeps things interesting. So, all right, gang. So till next time, continue to shine your light and share your insights and share the podcast, share the episode, and let's keep the conversation going. Okay. Let's see if we got a little bit of the meditation portal at the end. Okay, I'm going to have to locate. All right. Well, they'll be on. Nelson and Grace, I'll get them on. All right, Frankie D, hello. Good to see you. Hey, homeboy, homegirl, home people. All right, guys, you take good care. Lots of love and light. I'm getting woke and staying woke.
Awakenings broadcasts every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Pacific Time. Archive shows available on iTunes. For continued awakened conversations and insights, join the Awakenings group on Facebook. And check out Michele's blog at soulplayground.com. And keep awake.